What's up, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Undrafted Views. We're here. We talk sports from the sidelines, and today we're going to talk about the Toronto Raptors and their rise in the Eastern Conference standings. Let's get into it.
The Toronto Raptors are currently number 8 in the Eastern Conference with a record of 21 and 19. But it wasn't always this way. Towards the beginning of the season, the Raptors did not look as good as they do right now. In fact, at the end of November, they were number 12 in the Eastern Conference with a record of 9 and 11. Since they have started to get their mojo back, the Toronto Raptors have won 7 of the last 10 games. What do you think about their rise in the standings?
I think it is attributed to their health. So that's number one. They're more healthier than they were at the beginning of the season. And I think that's the benefit. They're also, I'm sensing that they're becoming more comfortable playing together, considering that their core three, wouldn't call them a big three, but maybe their core three, what is OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, and Siakam have been able to rally the other players. Because if you think about it, the other players are all new. And everybody on the Toronto Raptors roster that are active are 5 seasons or less in the league. So for them to be able to rise and now finally become comfortable with playing with one another, I think it's been to their benefit and why we've now seen that they're able to win more games than they lose.
During their winning streak here recently, Scotty Barnes, I just can't say enough about him. 6'7", long, athletic, reminds me a lot of Giannis when he came into the league, right? Able to take up a lot of space. He's athletic. He can handle the ball. I, I have nothing but praise for Scotty. I think he should be in the top 3 for Rookie of the Year this season. What do you like about Scotty Barnes?
I think Scotty Barnes has been a great contributor to the Toronto Raptors in their rise in the standings. But the person that stands out to me the most is Pascal Siakam. I'm sorry, Pascal Siakam is coming into his true form this season with the Toronto Raptors, where he has improved in his playmaking. I mean, if you watch him now, he's gaining more assists this season, and his shot selection is really strong in the mid range, and his improved game for this season has really been another great contributor to why the Toronto Raptors are being much more successful against the teams that they're playing. And not only that, the Toronto Raptors, along with Pascal Siakam, they are lengthy,
Yes.
super tall, and they are really becoming great defenders as a whole. And if you watched any games that the Toronto Raptors played against the Milwaukee Bucks, the Toronto Raptors have the Milwaukee Bucks number. Out of all the matchups that have taken place this season against the Milwaukee Bucks, the Toronto Raptors have come out victorious. And even in this last matchup, it was an amazing sight to see. So I think that Siakam, along with the other 2 core members, have really helped propel this current Raptors team to be who they are today. So yeah.
Yeah, Siakam's averaging 20 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists. And now he is on the second fan return ballot for All-Star. Happy to see that. But Fred VanVleet, he's had an amazing season. Happy to see him doing well, shooting 46% from the 3-point line, second in 3-pointers made behind Stephen Curry. And that says a lot. Averaging 22 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists, leading the Raptors in points and assists. Now, he had some really big shoes to fill when Kyle Lowry left, but I think he's starting to fill them up quite nicely.
Yeah, I think that he's becoming who he is supposed to be in that role on the Raptors. I also believe that between him and Pascal Siakam, they're actually sharing the responsibility of bringing the ball up. And I think that's really great on how they are able to manage the ball handling on the floor. If you think about it, Fred VanVleet, I believe I either read or heard that he has made like 35 3-pointers so far this season or within the past few months or something like that. I'm like, wow, he's really doing what the Raptors need. I just think that it is time. The Raptors are in a position of transition. Think about it. The Raptors were one set of Raptors up until the time that Kyle Lowry left, even during their championship run. It is now time for Raptors to create what their new identity is without the veterans of DeMar DeRozan, without the veteran of Kyle Lowry, without the championship ability of Kawhi Leonard.
Hmm.
So what I'm seeing from the Toronto Raptors now is they're creating what they look like, who they will be, their own identity with this current roster, and with the core three that they have. I think they can go far. Maybe not deep in the playoffs this particular season because again, I think they still need some additional pieces. But I do like the fact that they are able to create what this new identity looks like alongside their coach Nick Nurse. So.
Yeah, yeah. And also OG Anunoby, 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. And the sad part is I've read recently that OG might be in trade talks. I hope Masai Ujiri
See,
doesn't
this is
take the bait. They need OG. He's part of what they're building here in
mm,
the Toronto area. So
yeah, he is part of what they're building. I think that if he's going to keep anybody, and I can understand why someone would want OG on their team. I
mhm.
totally get it because he's really doing well. But I agree with you with what the Toronto Raptors need. Can we ride out with these three core for the next 5 years, for the next 2 years at least? At least, so you can create this new identity. It is time for the Raptors to do that, and they have to at this point.
All right, the Toronto Raptors are currently missing Gary Trent Jr. right now out with an ankle, but he is also their number one steal getter, averaging 16 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. You know what's funny is Goran Dragic has not been with the team for some time now. Do the Raptors really need him at this point?
No,
Mm.
no. Why come back and be a disruptor? No, no. You know what, Goran? If you didn't start, when they was, struggling, don't try to come now when they're finally succeeding and moving up in the standings. You know what? I wanted him to show up. I mean, I think Goran Dragic would have been a nice addition to the Toronto Raptors when the season first started. But don't come now. No, no, thank you.
Oh, wow. You know, Goran came with Precious Achua, and I think Precious is starting to get his footing. I thought I would see a little bit more from him. And I know Precious came from Miami, right? So he has that defense culture, but eh,
Yeah, I think right now his strength may not be in the stat line with the points, the rebounds and assists. I think he does show up greatly for the Toronto Raptors when we're talking about defense. He is able to um, defend against opponents where they either have to pass the ball, they can't get their shot up or something like that. And I think that has been as more longer he plays with the Toronto Raptors, the more familiar he gets with Nick Nurse and the scheme. I think we will see who Precious will be if it doesn't show up this season. I believe he has something to really. I think he's special. So how that will unfold, I think we'll see more of that maybe in the upcoming seasons. But I like him on this team. I hope he stays with the Toronto Raptors, Precious Achua, because I think they can really greatly benefit in this particular organization.
yeah. So the Toronto Raptors are one of probably the only teams who is kind of like doesn't have any fans in the arena right now. So they're kind of playing in a bubble, and it's kind of hard to get up for
Mm-hmm.
that. You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's no noise. It's just like, how do you go back to that after playing in an arena that was full of raging fans? It's difficult right now.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. We talk about the woes of these other teams, especially in the States, but the Toronto Raptors, they really have from no fans in their stands, from traveling and the restrictions that
Yeah.
Canada currently still has. That's a lot from them being displaced last season, and them not being one of the markets that players want to come to. It's a lot to carry for an organization, and for them to be able to still show up, move up in the standings,
Hmm.
and produce great players because actually they develop more players, I think, than anybody. I mean, everybody in that roster is less than 5 seasons. That's huge. So, good for the Toronto Raptors organization to still be steadfast and still making sure that they're trying to create a winning culture with the people that they do have on their roster. And I think that they deserve to be rising because they're winning games and good for them.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Raptors' next five, right? They play the Miami Heat, Dallas Mavericks, the Washington Wizards, the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Charlotte Hornets. How do you think they'll fare up against the next five?
I think they'll go at least 4-1. I say 4-1. I can see maybe the loss that I can potentially see is against the Heat. That would probably be the only loss that I would see. But the other ones, I think so. I think when they played against the Mavs earlier this season, the Mavs beat them, but they didn't have Pascal Siakam on the roster at that time. So if Pascal Siakam and the core is healthy, along with the other players that they have on their roster, I think that they can give the Mavs a run for their money this particular matchup for them. So yeah, I say 4-1 with them losing to the Heat.
Okay, and I have them going 3-2, a loss to the Miami Heat, as well as losing to the Washington Wizards, who are currently struggling right now, but they are hot and cold, and they can turn it on in an instant. Like what I'm seeing from Kyle Kuzma for the Wizards. I know Bradley Beal is out right now, so they're struggling, but I do have the Raptors going 3-2 on the stretch. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap up this episode on the Toronto Raptors. Make sure you drop down in the comments and let us know what you think about their rise in the Eastern Conference standings. Can they hold on to it? And we will see you guys on the next one. But until then,
peace.
Peace out.